Alright everyone, welcome back to another video. Last time we showed off the Italian original invasion into Greece and then the Greek counterattacks in Albania. We're now on to Wendell Willkie pays a visit to England. January 1941. A first-hand view of the war. Wendell Willkie arrived in England in January. He conferred with Winston Churchill and other English leaders, visited defense plants, and inspected bomb damage in London and the provinces, and reiterated his determination to do everything possible to aid Britain in America. Above, he is seen, right foreground, visiting a shelter during an air raid. Below, enthusiastic crowds greet him as he leaves his automobile during a visit to Manchester. Right foreground, but here he is up here. Look at all these people coming to meet him. They're like, "Hey, you, American, help, please." And here he is again, leaving his automobile. But yeah, obviously America says we're neutral. We're not. We very much favored the Allies and things like that. So, yeah. January 21st, 1941. Italian cruiser fired in Tobruk Harbor. The cruiser San Giorgio, damaged earlier in the month by the RAF and breached in Tobruk Harbor, where she was used as a fortress mounting anti-aircraft guns. Was set on fire from air on the 21st of January. The picture shows her last moments as she burns furiously amidship. Yep, we say here's this ship finally going down. Yeah, obviously, if you have a wrecked destroyer or anything like that, might as well just use it as basically a fortress, because that's what they are, basically, giant fortresses. You have anti-aircraft guns, things like that, big cannons sometimes. So might as well use it for that purpose. It'll help with your air defense, things like that. So it's not a terrible idea, but yeah, obviously this one has been brought down. Infantry and mechanized forces combined to capture Tobruk. January 22nd, 1941. Assault on Tobruk. The Battle of Tobruk followed the lines of that at Bardia, the town being attacked simultaneously from several points. By skillfully encircling the enemy positions, the attacks were able to take Italian forces in the rear, thereby throwing them into confusion and making them face both ways at once. Allied casualties were very light, less than 500 in all. Nearly 20,000 Italian prisoners were taken, as well as many guns and large stores of material. Above left a British medium howitzer in action during the preliminary bombardment. Right, British infantry making their way through barbed wire defense outside of the town. Below, men of the Australian Imperial Forces advancing toward their objectives, supported by light tanks. They are disposed in open formation as a precaution against bombing from the air. So here we'll see that in the preliminary bombardment, here we see the howitzer raining down fire onto the enemy. See those troops, they're getting through that barbed wire. It looks like it was cut before, and these troops are just basically walking on right through. Or a tank ran it down. That's always possible too. And then there we see the Italian troops, and yeah, they're standing out in formations like this to limit the effectiveness of air bombardment. If they're all spread out, dropping a bomb on one person, not going to be really that effective. So, try to limit the effectiveness of the enemy bombing raids. The King of Kings returns to Abyssinia. January 1941. Haile Selassie at home again. The British success The British successes? Yeah, that looks about right. Against the Italians in Abyssinia, encouraged the Ethiopians to revolt. When Ras Mungasha raised the imperial standard at Gojam in July 1940, large numbers of the patriots rallied to the call. A British mission had kept in close contact with the patriots, and the Emperor Haile Selassie, established in Khartoum, had visited his troops at the frontier at the end of the previous year. On January 15th, he flew into the heart of Abyssinia, where he unfurled his standard above on his native soil. In the lower picture, he is seen stepping from his plane at a secret field. So there we see Haile Selassie raising his standard on his soil. And here we see him getting on a plane. Yeah, the Ethiopians had one of the longest, the longest empires or something like that, along those lines. And Haile Selassie, he had to leave because the Italians took over and things like that. But he comes back and he's in charge for, I think, a few more years. I think until he either dies or he's either deposed later. And he is then replaced, and Ethiopia now has a president, I believe. That is their government. They have like a democracy or something along those lines, I believe. I could be wrong. It could be like a parliament, actually, parliamentary system, but something along those lines, yeah. President Roosevelt, welcome to Lord Halifax, January 24th, 1941. New British ambassador in America. The death of Lord Lothian, British representative in Washington, on December 12, 1940, left a diplomatic gap which was filled a fortnight later by the appointment of Lord Halifax. The selection of so prominent a statesman as ambassador was unprecedented and was received with deep satisfaction in the United States. Lord Halifax, who crossed to America in the battleship King George V, was met in Chesapeake Bay by President Roosevelt, who had journeyed from Washington to welcome him. Above, the president and the new ambassador together shortly after the latter's arrival. There we see Lord Halifax and President Roosevelt. If you guys ever want to watch a good movie, it's a movie recommendation. There is a movie, and it was on Netflix last I saw, but it was, I believe it was called The Darkest Hour, and it's about when when Winston Churchill gets elected to Prime Minister. It goes a little bit over, like, what happens with certain important statesmen, like the previous Prime Minister, as well as Lord Halifax. And the guy that they had playing Lord Halifax, I don't remember his name, so sorry, my voice is giving out. But I don't remember his name, but the guy that they have to play him in that movie looks exactly like Lord Halifax. Like, it's kind of scary. He looks eerily similar to Lord Halifax. But good movie. Watch it. Darkest Hour. Good movie. I believe it's what the name of that movie is. January 29th, 1941. Derna captured. Derna, the next objective on the Libyan coast after Tobruk for General Wavell's troops, was captured by the Australians and British on January 29th after 3 days fighting. Though their strength had been sapped at Bardia and Tobruk, the Italians defended their vital water depot with great tenacity. The picture shows British artillery pounding at the defenses of the town. Here we see the artillery. And yeah, you can see there's a lot of artillery here. I mean, not like the most ever, but it's a decent amount of artillery pounding the town because they're trying to just soften up the Italians as much as possible just so they can more or less roll in and take the city instantly, which is what they would want. But yeah, the Italians obviously are going to hold this very, very hard because, like they said, it was vital because it's a water depot. So, We're going to do this last picture, and that's going to be it for this video. British success in Atrea. February 1st, 1941. Fall of Agrodot. On February 1st, the Anglo-Indian, forces with RAF support captured Agrodot, capital of Western Atrea. The enemy suffered heavy casualties and lost a number of tanks and guns. This success cleared the road to Karen, on which town was based the defense of Asmara, the Atrea capital, and the Red Sea port of Massawa. The picture shown above, Indians with a Bren gun carrier clearing an Atrean village. Below, British soldiers with Bren guns and rifles sniping from behind the rocks. There we see that Indian troops, they're clearing out Atrean city. Yeah, they're trying to just be, quick, clean, get through this, get out. We have to hurry up and take Atrea. And here we see the British troops with their Bren guns and the rifles shooting from rocks at the enemy below. That is what you can assume. All right, well, that's going to do it for this video. If you guys liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a comment. Tell me what I can improve on. It always is a great help. And as always, subscribe. I really appreciate all of you that subscribe. Thank you.